Do-do. Ba-do-do. Ba-do-do-do-do.
Are we rolling?
Ba-do-do. Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, brother.
Ba-do. Ba-dum-dum.
I need me, brother.
Ba-da-ba-da-da-dum.
Whatever happened to
Ba-dum-dum.
am I my brother's keeper? Huh?
Do-do-do-do-do. Ba-dum-dum. Look at your smile, brother. Ba-dum-dum.
Hey, hermano.
Do-do-do-do-do.
That he is surely his brother's keeper.
Oh, did you put that in?
Samuel Jackson?
I thought you didn't have it the last time. I mean, it has been 2 weeks.
I may have I put it in the confirmed theme song recording that I made that you asked me to do.
You're right.
But yeah, I think you're right. We haven't played it on the show yet.
Yeah. Well, next time.
We've added Hulk Hogan to the list. I got to hunt down the "Let me tell you something, brother."
Yeah, that's perfect.
And there was one other one we talked about last week that's not coming to mind right now. But Sam Jackson's on there. I forgot my laptop today, by the way, and that's why we just free played our way through our own theme song.
We're gonna be doing our own drops today.
Boing.
Boing. So far, so good. I mean,
I'm gonna embarrass myself doing that, and you're gonna be so confused what I'm doing when I make seagull or ocean noises and with my face. It's not gonna help the stories you're telling at all.
I'll be impressed if you can make a cricket chirping noise naturally.
Ooh, no, that one's far from my ability. I'll do the
I'll be honest. The first time you did that one for me, I thought you triggered the spring separately from the like whistling falling down noise.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they went hand in hand.
That one's funny because I'll press the Wile E. Coyote fall that thing, and
that's exactly what it is.
I'm watching the sample on Ableton like play through it, so that I can visually time when the end of it is.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
You're a DJ. Oh, some more bad news. Oh, did your lava lamp turn on?
No, it didn't.
Yeah, no, I think the light got shorted out when I tried turning it on earlier, like gave the bright light and then went immediately off, so
that's fine, man. It's a Ubi is the brand name, I guess.
Ubi.
So I bet it's
that's okay.
I bet it's difficult to service or fix. But I do like the shape.
Yeah, no, it's very curvy.
I'm sure we can get another bulb.
It's very sensual. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Live Ableton drops. Very good. The trail off. We also just had back-to-back COVID weeks.
Back-to-back COVID champs.
Which sucks.
You first.
Yep, I came first, and it was also
Round
my first
one.
time.
Yeah.
Which,
how did it go?
Let's see. If COVID really started breaking out around us around like June of 2020, and it's March of 2023, I did make it like essentially 2.5 years.
Yep.
During the COVID crisis without confirmed getting it.
Yeah.
And it sucked ass.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It just like also being isolated to your room is just the worst. And I feel like I got you and the band infected, but I like didn't go anywhere, which is just so surprising and frustrating because it's like you can't even help being infectious if you're in the same building.
Yeah.
You just want to like dig a hole in the ground with like a little hazmat tent over you and be like, don't come near me.
Yeah.
I'm going to breathe into this pipe.
You should have gone full Bubble Boy.
Oh my God. That would be really funny.
That would have been funny to just, if you had enough plastic to like create your own
Jake Gyllenhaal
wall with the gloves that someone can use from the outside to touch stuff with you.
The airlock to pass things through. Yeah, that's so funny. I bet a Bubble Boy suit is probably like $50.
A suit?
Yeah, the whole thing. Those like big hamster suits. Like the one in the movie, I guess, if you're thinking about like that kind of style.
Do you mean a room?
No, like the ball he rolls around in Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie.
Right. Well, no, I guess I'm thinking of a different... No, isn't it part of Bubble Boy that he lives in like a plastic room at home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. There's a Seinfeld where George ends up hanging out with the boy in the bubble for a while. But that's what I picture when I forgot he's like rolling the rolling the thing at the end. Yeah.
I admittedly have only watched that movie from halfway through with Willie.
Oh yeah, it used to be on TV all the time for some reason. Whenever I weird daytime television reruns.
I feel like it had a lot of the same actors that was in the movie Matilda.
Yeah. Similar vibe of a movie.
Yeah. It had that level of like kind of like darkness, and it had an edge to it for sure.
I read on Reddit post the other day that the little girl from the original Matilda movie, that I think it was like her mom or maybe a different close relative was like dying of cancer while that movie was being made. So Danny DeVito like rush cut a version of the movie so that she could watch it in like the last week of her life before she passed away and the movie wasn't going to come out yet. It was some variation of that.
That's cool.
That story, but Danny DeVito is a very beloved celebrity figure on Reddit.
He certainly is one of those guys that every time you like focus in on what he's doing, it's always something very like sweet and charitable.
Yeah.
His whole story with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is kind of like that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know the details enough to like tell you the story, but
yeah,
I know it's something like he had faith in the show when no one else did. He loved what they were doing when they were on the edge of being canceled, and he was like, I'll do whatever I can to help you guys. Like,
yeah.
And they were like, do you want to be in the show?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I like how Keanu Reeves is perceived out in public as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of specific trendy videos of him doing things.
The subway,
the ride from the airport when the plane got...
I think I've missed that one.
He was going to get on a flight, and there was something about the plane either being delayed such a long time that it made more sense to take a rental car, and that he just said to everybody in the terminal, like, hey, I'm going from here to wherever the destination was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to rent a van, but I'll take all of you if you want to come. So, like, how does anybody want to get a ride with me?
Yeah.
And, like, he ended up getting a whole van. And, like, during the whole ride, he was, like, he pulled his phone up about where they were and, like, gave, like, a tour guide kind of, like, overview of, like, what town they were in at the moment and, like, some landmarks they were going to pass. And it's all, like, Keanu Reeves' voice, so it's perfect. Whoa. Up next, we're going to pass the Red Rock of Australia. Whoa. I can't do a good Keanu Reeves.
It's just the whoa.
It's so...
Matrix.
He's got a lower voice than hearing my own voice in the microphone, I reminded how my voice is a little bit of a higher pitch.
Morpheus?
Yeah, but it's deep. It's deep, dude.
That happened to Ash and me in real life. That plane
Meeting
story.
Keanu Reeves?
No, that would be great.
Oh yeah, you're right. That did happen to you.
Yeah, so we love to go to New York to visit Natalie and other friends, and usually it's like while Ash is on break from school, like in the summer usually. And Worcester has this dope cheap flight to JFK that's like an hour, and if you book a couple months in advance, the flight could be like $60.
That's so dope.
Just Worcester to JFK. For a long time, it's different now, which is great. But for a long time, the only schedule was 6 a.m. out of Worcester to New York, which is fine. Because if you get to the Worcester airport at 5:30 for a 6 a.m. flight, you're in a chair for 28 minutes before the plane takes off.
And the parking at Worcester Airport's dope.
Yeah, it's great. Maple Hill Disc Golf right nearby.
Yeah. Wake
Hot
up.
Dog Annie's. A hop and a skip down the road.
Wake up at 3 a.m., get a hot dog, go play.
They're open.
Go play disc golf. Tea time 5:30 a.m.
Sounds pretty dark. But yeah, so you be in New York City at 7:15 in the morning, which is sick. But then the only daily flight back to Worcester is from JFK at 10:45 p.m.
That's rough.
The most of the rest of the airport's pretty thinned out by that point. And all our summer New York City trips that we've done this, we've had a failure almost every time. It's just that one of those flights that it's never full, and it's so late that if there's been other fuckery at the airport with delays and maintenance problems and stuff, that all ripple affects its way to this end of the night flight. And then they just don't cancel it. They just keep pushing back the time for hours and hours, and there's no updates on the pilots. And then suddenly it's that thing where like there's not enough pilots that have had enough sleep or like break between flights, and they push it all the way till like 3 a.m. before they just cancel the flight. So anyway, that's all to say. Last time this happened, Ash and I were chirping in the terminal, like just being like, ugh, this flight, we're so unlucky with this. We just want to get back home. And this guy turned around and was like, leaned in just to be like, I have a rental car waiting, and if this thing doesn't take off in 30 minutes, I think I'm just going to drive home. Do you guys want to come with me? I don't mind if you share the ride. And we were
oh, shit.
We were like, are you sure, dude? And he was like, yeah, no big deal if you don't want to, but it's just a figure, you seem like you're cool. And
maybe you guys should get in my rental
And I had
car.
a really funny, dude, it was funny. It was like 5.
You seem like a lovely couple. I'd love to have your company on the ride.
It was 5 minutes of me realizing how much of a natural force my soul was like so exhausted by this airport bullshit that it was like, oh, take it, dude. How can you not take it? Versus all the logical side of me that's like, how could this end in my murder?
Is this equivalent to hitchhiking?
or any number of other awful things.
Yeah.
But I was like, we're in an airport, so he doesn't have any guns. Where he's getting a rental car, so the chances of there being a coordinated thing are unlikely, plus it's being tracked by a rental car company. Plus we're in a very specific, like, weird flight situation.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of communally commiserating on this thing for the last couple hours. So the chances just seem really high of this is all above board and it's just a dude being nice.
This is the algorithm that drives your sus meter. So you were probably floating around the...
Oh, dude, yeah. Because the year before...
Little sauce.
The year before when this same thing happened, we went, of course, at 3 a.m, we went to like the JetBlue help desk, and they were like, well, we can get you out of Boston at 6 a.m., but we can get you to Boston at 6 a.m., but it's leaving LaGuardia Airport. Like, we have no seats on any flights to Worcester or Boston pretty much all day. But if you can get over to LaGuardia. So then Ash and I took an expensive cab from JFK to LaGuardia at 4 a.m.
Jesus.
It's not open yet. We were in the LaGuardia Airport lobby with like 30 other people who were in the same situation. And we were trying to like sleep, but it was just a bright light, loud, echoey room.
Dear God.
Thing. It's like, nah, we just got to push through. And we were the first people through, and we got on the plane and ended up like $100 Uber ride home from Boston. Instead of Worcester, it threw off the whole plan.
Of course.
Total ruiner. I would so much rather. But then, yeah, next year we got lucky with Fran. What a lovely man. And he just drove us and one other girl who was sitting with us. And she was funny. She got a call at one point. We were in the tram going to the rental car place. And she's like, Fran, I'm sorry, but my father's on the phone. He has a question for you. And Fran was like, all right. Picks up the phone. He goes, yep, absolutely. Okay. And he hands it back. And
I will murder you.
And she hangs up. She's like, bye, Dad. And she's like, what did he say to you? And he was like, no, he's just making sure that I'm not gonna kill you guys or anything. He's like, I get it. He's like, if my kid was doing this, I'd probably want to speak to the driver too.
Your sus meter goes down.
Sus meter goes down. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, ooh, he's good. This is good. If I end up becoming victim here, I'm impressed by this point because
this man's just doing.
He's thrown off the scent so many different times.
That's fucking hilarious.
But it was great. He and I sat in the passenger seat and we just talked for 3 hours. He was like a fan of Phil Collins and Genesis and stuff.
Oh,
so
nice.
We talked about concerts and he knew quite a bit about music and he had a daughter in college and we were like, a few years out of college. So there was plenty to talk about.
Dude, that's super nice.
It was super nice, dude. He drove us all the way back to the Speedway on Park Ave by the Worcester Airport. And he was like, I think this is a good place to let you guys off because you can take an Uber from here and I'm going a different way. But Yeah, that was so sick. I don't know if I can trust that flight back from New York City ever again.
Yeah.
Under those terms. What I think they did add more, like 2 or 3 more daily flights from Worcester to JFK. So I think there's more options now for when you can do it. But because when it works, it's so great.
I wish there was like a website that tracked the statistics of like successfully met flights. You know what I mean? So like you could see how often a flight actually
like
through.
Recurring flights?
Yeah.
Like flights that happen every day at the same time to the same places?
Yeah, like a consistency rating.
Yeah.
Like this happens for real.
They have that information, which is how they price things, I'm sure.
That's so annoying.
But yeah, they would never tell you like, yeah, buy a ticket from JFK to Worcester. It happens 60% of the time. Nobody would buy tickets.
Fly Worcester. And what is it, Delta or
JetBlue?
JetBlue. I like JetBlue. When I was flying back and forth to school, JetBlue flights were always the most convenient. Mostly because they prioritize the like 1 or 2 features that go a long way with kind of like, I don't want to say this, but like shallow people that would pack like a ton of extra stuff. So they'd always have an oversized carry-on. And people that wanted to do like play games and just kind of have like that extra touch of luxury. So they did the head seat rest screens per person.
Yeah.
And I just remember being on every flight and being like, this isn't like they're really packing in a lot of people here. And I guess I don't know I have a good way of judging flights other than like several YouTube videos I've watched of just like, the like upscale flight experience. And I understand the appeal of getting to view that because most people fly coach their entire life. Like we have, you know, like, but being on those JetBlue flights felt kind of a little more upscale than something like Southwest.
Yeah.
But without that much of a price difference. And I was buying my tickets maybe 3 months in advance. So like,
I've always thought JetBlue had really good branding.
Yeah.
It resonates with me for whatever reason more than the other airlines do. And I think there was a while where like their website's booking process felt so much easier and fluid than like any other way that I'd booked plane tickets online up until that point. So I stuck with them and I've built up a bit of a loyalty bank with them that I keep going back to, and that's effective because now I try to use JetBlue rather than any other airline if it's possible.
Right.
But I've definitely had my share of mixed experiences with them.
Yeah.
There's times where I'm like, I'm glad I'm here because it's so much easier with these guys. But then there's been times where it's like, I feel like this isn't a problem with other airlines. And I feel like there's been periods of time where I've felt from other people like, ooh, JetBlue, flying JetBlue. And then being like, yeah, flying JetBlue this place.
Right.
I won't even get there. I was like, that's not the vibe I've ever felt from them. But I think I do think they're on the cheaper end. Usually nowadays they've achieved that for United States flights. They're usually on the cheaper end, and they're the ones that do direct flights the most, which is like, I always like that. I hate doing layovers.
I'm just realizing I have no idea how airline companies work.
Evil.
Like how do you make an airline? Do you first need to own 1 million jets?
A fleet of planes.
Yeah, so you need a fleet of planes. Do you need to be like in some sort of like network of the coalition of airlines that exclusively travel within the United States and then get all of your shit permitted based on that? Like, I have no idea.
I bet it's really complicated. It's a highly regulated industry and system.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you as just an entrepreneur, it would be hard to start an airline that operates the same way and out of the same official United States airports as all the major ones. Right. That's why it would have been cool to buy that Woodstock airport.
Oh, that was for sale.
Yeah, it's still for sale, dude.
2 hangars, right?
Oh, way more than that. It had a bunch of hangars.
That's so cool. So you could, I wonder if you would have to get it recertified as like an official landing strip, or if you could just take off like smaller airplanes that didn't need like certain classifications because of altitude limits or something. Like I know that there are some really small airplanes that like Actually, no, I'm talking out of my ass. I have no idea what I'm saying.
It'd be badass to live in a small airport that's just doing like private plane owner stuff 99% of the time.
Yeah.
But then you get a call that's like, we need to emergency land at your airport. And you're like, I'm going to let them land in my airport.
Think of this story.
And you like, you get a van and like shuttle the people off the plane.
Yep.
Anybody need a blanket?
Is everybody okay? Here's some Gatorade. Get some electrolytes in
It
there.
would be such a funny dose of like, I'm helping.
Yeah. Ma'am, you're in shock. I'm fine.
Because all your other customers and visitors are all like hobbyist pilot people.
Exactly. They're your buddies who fly RT airplanes at your hangar because no one's flying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's still for sale. We could still buy it.
That's a cool property, man. Any property that has like a gimmick like that, and I don't want to say an airport is a gimmick, but like not every person would. Okay, better example. Any sort of living situation that's kind of built into I guess you could call it business structure, like warehouse space or like a church or, you know, anywhere where it wasn't the primary utility of that space to be a home.
Right.
I like to think of the airport or having a small airport as being a really cool thing to have.
Oh yeah. No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I like that cave house, that underground modern home that was all like polished concrete.
Oh, the bunker in Princeton.
Yeah, Princeton.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
It's really easy to find pictures of that house on the internet. Like you just got to search like Princeton, Mass bunker house, and it's like the first thing that comes up.
That's awesome. Give me 1 second. I'll see if I can find it.
That was for sale right around when I first started kind of daily checking Zillow for fun all the time, and I could not believe it by today's standards of price. I think it was listed for like $420,000 or something. Now it's got to be worth close to $1 million, given what it is.
All right. So the article on October 12th, 2021 says listed for $640,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that jumped up. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, so cool.
That's unbelievable.
This is a terrible website. My computer is also having a panic attack.
But what is the cost of a walk-in tub if you're over 65?
A walk-in tub.
Earth-sheltered home.
Concrete bunker. Oh,
straight out of a James Bond movie.
Do you see the actual address?
166 Wheeler Road.
166. Bammo. Realtor.
Hit that realtor.com, motherfucker.
I want to see these pictures of a bunker.
Oh, and it was on 12 acres. Dude, this was a steal. Pre-pandemic.
Imagine inviting Blue Light Bandits over to do recordings in a bunker. That's so funny. They put a little patio outside.
Oh, yeah, of course. What else are you going to do?
I think this is updated. I don't remember it being blue.
You should go full screen for the viewers at home.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to click on this, but it's not going full screen.
Your computer, man. Oh, it's working so hard.
Yeah, it's trying. Ooh, he's trying.
Yeah, you don't have to.
All right, I'm gonna leave it.
Oh,
there.
it's so cool.
Oh no. Oh no.
Is this that router problem?
No. I think I actually fixed that.
Cool.
So our backstory, I actually tracked it a little bit through the log or the error log. It shuts off every like hour or so when the CPU is at 55% or above. So it's like a heat safe issue.
Gotcha.
Or it's like a heat safety issue.
Oh.
And there's a setting that you can only get through the like IP address debug menu where you like really get into the deep router like permissions and settings where by default it's off, but it's like always enable cooling fan. So I just had to like turn that on and now it should be fine. And I think it's been running for like 10 hours, 12 hours straight continuous, which typically it doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
Feeling good about it.
Nice.
So yeah, here's this bunker house. God damn. Good furniture choice to offset the green from the trees outside the windows and the gray exterior.
Yeah.
I know some people hate red leather because it's like tacky, but I personally think in the right context like this, it's really nice.
I want a Fight Club jacket couch. I would put so much more wall and ceiling decorations on this.
I bet it's not as easy as you think.
I'm sure it's hard. Oh, the kitchen is fantastic. I'm a big fan of the up at hips height stove.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not bad.
That's an official name for what those are. I can't think of it.
Oh my God. Live, love, eat. I don't trust these people.
I told Ash when we have our own place, no signs telling you what the verb of the room is. There's no way.
Live. Bathe.
Shit.
Dude, should we make our own parody versions of those signs?
Shit and fard, but like
Shit
in that funny
fard.
like Bed Bath & Beyond font.
Yeah. This is a great hallway.
Yeah.
Love that. But at that point, you remember it's not truly a bunker.
Yeah. Earth shelter.
Earth shelter.
Oh yeah, I bet these are south-facing windows too, so that's why they have the plants in this hallway.
So nice.
Great little bathroom.
Yep.
This is like a Black Mirror episode location.
Yeah, or Ex Machina.
Yeah.
I like that the concrete is kind of marbled.
Yeah.
Unless that is marble.
Now it's concrete.
Ooh, all these chess pieces. It's cool. Yeah, the last time I looked at pictures of this house, this was not as furnished.
Yeah, this was the next owner's pictures before selling it a couple years ago.
I wonder why they sold it. Because it leaks.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine being in this house for the pandemic and being like, I need to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. It would truly feel like you were isolated. Except these windows are sick. I'm really impressed at how cool the windows are.
This is like where one of the seasons of Lost took place. It looked... This is like when Locke goes down the hatchet.
Yeah.
Or the down the hatch to the like
down the hatchet.
Down the hatchet, my bad. To the apocalypse bunker with the button.
The poop room. What's the okay, this is hilarious. They put a bowl sink in the fucking like empty washroom.
That's a great studio bathroom though.
Yeah. That's true. You'd never feel that was a weird little blip in the audio. You would never feel obliged to like take perfect care of it.
Yeah.
Perfect for taking nasty whiskey shids.
Dude, those ads for the pots, that's the brand of kitchen gear that Ash loves. So I buy those as gifts a lot. But it's funny that it's on your computer.
That's hilarious.
We must be an affinity audience match.
Well, it's probably because your proximity.
Oh, right. Yeah, the phone's right here. That's probably what's doing it.
I heard that a lot of ads are triggered
Triggered it down the hatchet.
They triggered it down the hatchet.
We got a new drop for the board.
Yep. Never sharing this audio file with you. I've heard that a lot of ads are triggered by the proximity of other people, and it sends their ads to you.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Very interesting for the psychology of how advertisements are ingested these days. This makes me mad because it makes me realize that pretty much all of this house is above ground. Like, it's already sloping back down here. Like, this is hardly underground.
Why does that make you mad? It's still so sick.
Oh, okay. No, it's actually...
That's like a Star Wars scene.
I thought there was only one silo. I thought that was it, but it's actually a lot longer than I thought. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I jumped the gun.
It's not that big. It's like, it's basic.
It's an underground ranch.
Yeah.
I do like it though. All right. No more of these
so sick.
forced ads.
Familiar sounds. Can
we revisit my venue idea that I shared with you the other day?
Yes.
So the idea is that we get a venue that there's a special audio experience for the band and the audience where on stage, visually to the audience, it looks like you are looking through the window of a recording studio, and the band who is performing live is inside that studio. Essentially, sorry, shouldn't have said essentially.
And there's a barbershop.
And there's a barbershop, and they're cutting your hair. No. So the audience gets a typical show experience, but the band on stage is kind of enclosed in this 3-walled recording studio environment with a pane of glass, a giant pane of glass that separates the band from the audience, but still gives you the same visual experience as a typical audience member at a show would. So it wouldn't be like there was any restriction to you seeing the band. For the band, you would be isolated from the front of house speakers, and enclosed inside a room would give you a perfect audio sound fidelity for the front of house engineer who's catering to the audience to mix. So the audience gets a higher quality show because there's super high studio quality fidelity. The band gets to benefit because they get to actually hear themselves in a very controlled space without a lot of the random troubleshooting issues that come out of nowhere with live shows pretty much consistently. And there would be a unique sense of creativity to that style of a venue approach. So it's kind of a gimmick. So like, it's kind of like everyone involved wins. And in my opinion, I don't think I can find enough negatives about that other than the cost of creating a recording studio with giant pane of glass on a stage in a club in a way that would pass fire code.
Yeah. I mean, it's a seductive idea to think about seeing your favorite band perform like a studio session, but basically as an audience member there.
Yes. Much more well put than I just rambled on about.
I guess I just don't see the value in the architecture of what you're describing in a way that goes beyond what like the people who get to hear the Snarky Puppy sessions with the headphones on get to have.
All right.
Because by setting up like a recording studio structure, you're really cutting down on the practicality of like how you can build an audience and to like view that. Like you could give like 20 people an incredible intimate experience that way, but
this is the aesthetic I'm going for, but separated by a pane of glass.
Like a band aquarium.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, now that we're talking aquarium,
fuck.
I like this idea, but with a lot more coverage. Like, I just don't think you can serve enough viewers with that small of a studio-sized window. But
no, it would be a giant window. It'd be huge. Maybe even multiple panes of glass all connected together.
But like, 50 people's length away from where the window is closest to the band, you're going to be like looking at a weird angle from quite a ways away at what's happening.
Maybe you should have showed up early.
But
I'm joking.
But what about building this studio space like in the round?
Like in the middle of the room?
Yeah.
Where everyone can look in from all angles?
Okay, we can call this the fish tank.
All right.
And the studio...
You just evolved my Pokemon from level 1 to level 2.
Yeah, I'm on board now, but we have to... But that's the thing, like... the venue is sort of surrounding the stage, which is sort of working like a session studio, maybe where all the musicians are kind of filling that space and facing inward to each other the way they would when they track in a studio. And all of that stuff you said is happening in that space where an engineer's doing a perfect studio mix, and everyone who's in the outside can hear that. Our idea is getting better, so the steam is increasing in its intensity.
Yeah, for anybody that can hear that, that's our radiator blowing steam out of it like an angry train.
But now I'm thinking that like it's like being at a zoo or at an aquarium.
Yeah.
Where you and that is sick too, because like
so many titties on the glass.
Is that in the pros or the cons column?
Depends on which aisle you sit in.
But you can get a beer from like there's like 4 bars in like the 4 corners or whatever, yep. And you can move around and check out different parts of the show as the night goes along. Get
closer to the instrumentalists or vocalists that you like more, and like get to not engage, but like kind of get a more up close experience.
And you know how when you're at like a zoo exhibit, and let's say it's the gorilla exhibit, and you see them all, they're spread out throughout the enclosure, and it's just a lot of people all along different parts of the glass, but then one gorilla starts to do something crazy, and everyone kind of runs over real quick to that. Like, people would do that at the guitar solo moment or like the drum solo moment or something. Like, they could position themselves.
To be honest, it's ultimate content capturing experience. But...
Oh, and you can go, like the zoo, you can go on the roof and look down into it too.
At that level, I think you're in just for some trouble. I wouldn't put people above you.
Table that for now.
Think about how predatory that could get if you had a well-endowed female vocalist.
Oh.
Because like, think about other bands.
Take it to the gutter, why don't you?
Well, I'm just thinking. What? It is my job to think problematically. If we want to make a good idea, we have to poke holes in this.
A question? What PA system play the music for the people?
A big one.
Is that, before I introduced this fish tank thing, how were you imagining the sound being played getting to the audience?
From a regular PA. This entire recording studio aesthetic lives on stage.
But so I guess I was imagining like when you're in a recording studio and you're just listening with your ears, you can also hear stuff really well. That's why I was wondering, like, are you trying to give people like kind of an acoustic performance experience? I know that can't work for everything, but like, yeah.
Think KEXP or any of the radio station performance captures where they do 3 or 4 songs and it's in a studio, but they have all their normal gear and they're just going ham live, but in a studio, like studio session material, Snarky Puppy.
Yeah.
But just live in an environment that emulates the way it looks and feels in a studio. It's kind of a level of casualness and, frankly, intimacy with the music more so than with the audience. That's kind of what I had in mind. But this whole like fish tank idea where the audience can surround the band, but the band can still feel like there is a bona fide separation between them and the audience, so they don't never feel like they have to watch their back or like feel threatened or something. That's really appealing to me. Like, what a unique experience for a band to feel like they're in the middle of the chaos of their fandom while still being able to perform with confidence. It would definitely get dicey, though, when it comes to, like, viewing angles. Like, ticket sales would be tough. Like, if you didn't, like, the first people there would be the people right up against the glass, and they wouldn't give a fuck about anybody looking past them. So that'd be really tough. Like, it would have to be...
What if it was in a park? What if it was like a geodesic dome in an outdoor space?
That's really interesting. What if it was 4 separate cubes for all 4 members of the band?
Oh.
And you were all elevated one step above the audience so you were all able to have eyesight with each other, but the audience could form and shift. Actually, no. Like, what? That would make people feel like that you were trying to like what if someone didn't have people gathered around them? That would feel shitty.
You just made me think about a really cool like stage prop. Funny to do like a prestige magician thing where like the 4 cubes have the 4 guys and then they fill up with fog while like some of them switch places and then come up in the other one.
Love it.
Now I'm here. Now I'm over here.
Yo, that's a great idea though. Fill up the cubes with fog and have a light show inside that's all like dim.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think you would also have a problem with people putting things on the glass.
Yeah.
Like making a poster and just holding it up to the glass the whole night.
No signs.
Yeah, you might have to make a no signs policy, but that's hard to enforce.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's just hard to imagine an enormous amount of patronage for this type of an experience.
Yeah, I guess. I think people are looking for a new sort of concert experience. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the current one we have. I just think there could be a concert experience that has like a really new and unique gimmick to it that would make people want to just go there for the experience, but also allow performers to give you a better experience musically. So then it would just be a combination of like, this is cool, and the performers played better here because it's a better experience for them. And I'm sure every person who knows anything about acoustics is saying, if you had performers in glass boxes, it would sound like dog shit. So like, there's truth to that.
This is
too.
sounding more and more like the kind of thing that a famous like Dave Grohl level musician would just do, like have at their home and host these kind of events.
It's almost like an art show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If you owned this type of a space and produced a series, like you could shoot some of the most unbelievable video of like the best bands, and then that added element of like, oh, and they're like their biggest fans all paid enormous money to come be part of this video and this concert, and like that would be a cool series to do. And especially if you added more like visual gimmick kind of stuff to it. I don't know. I there's probably legs somewhere in this.
And you need to be in a city where people are actually going out and doing new things.
Yeah. I mean, the
West Coast.
Producing events of any kind there's so much overhead to it, and that's why so many music venues just keep the bare minimum status quo for every level of what they're offering people who are coming. It's because they can't afford not to.
Yeah.
And this is like the other end of that spectrum of like, I could also see like a super bougie plate, like a Saks Fifth Ave, like building this on one of the floors of the building, and like having when they have big soiree things in the department store, like
it's just like a thing they can do for you.
Yeah. It's a high luxury concept idea, but it would be, I'm imagining like,
let's put Adam Levine in a box and put him in the middle of a bunch of thirsty ass moms.
But you're suggesting like, I'm thinking of the Radiohead in Rainbow's basement tapes, and how cool it would have been to just watch that happen.
Yeah.
From the perimeter and hear all of it live for the first time. Like that would be a super, super, super cool thing. But that audience is also, they're not the largest chunk of like paying music customers anymore. That sort of experience, that audiophile, tangible, analog, up close and personal thing is sort of a niche interest at this point in the music biz, which is weird, but I don't know. I don't want to rain on the parade of the idea. I think it'd be really fun to play in it, and to present that to people. But dude, ask anyone who's ever owned a small music venue about the experience, and you probably won't want to have one.
Is it easy to run a small music venue and be profitable? No, you're hemorrhaging money. Oh, okay. Let me just go throw my dreams in the trash.
Ash just finished watching this Netflix show called Ginny in Georgia.
I haven't heard of that.
It's been on the front page of Netflix for a while. I think it's very popular, but
maybe for you guys, the algorithm doesn't push that show my way.
That's good.
For me, it's like Forged in Fire and Physical 100.
American Pickers.
Yeah.
But it's a silly show. It's like a drama with some lighthearted stuff. It takes place in a fictional Massachusetts town. And a lot of the scenes take place at this place downtown in like the main strip of downtown. That's like it's like this young guy who owns it, and it's like a bakery and a restaurant and a wine bar, and it has a little stage that has open mics and little concerts, and it can be rented out for things. And I laughed every time there's a scene in this place of the show that I saw, because it was like, this is what like Dad has always talked about wishing there was, like the perfect restaurant music venue place that everything always works out great at. And
it's what the Vanilla Bean Inn should have been.
Yeah, it's just everything all at once, and it's so wholesome, and everyone's so happy, and like there's no challenge to it. But like, I think if you own a music venue that champions like bands and live performers, every day is like a fight to meet your bottom line and cultivate an audience of regular people. It's such a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's unbelievably hard. I think part of this could be coming from the social awkwardness of our generation, having been so consumed with phones and stuff. Like the people that are comfortable going and mingling and engaging in nightlife regularly has been going away slowly, because there's just a majority of people that are used to being on their phones and stuff and like not going out. Do you think that could be true?
Well, your commentary is making me think more about how like, my personal preference is I'm miserable if I'm out drinking late at night at a place that's so loud and crowded with people that like you have to be under a major influence of something to like
tolerate it.
Just to tolerate it, let alone enjoy it. And there's still these places. BLB plays at a bunch of these places, in Boston especially. Like that, those are the places that are succeeding at this.
Yeah.
Is the places that I look out at the crowd and think like, I would never want to have this experience. I wouldn't want my time and money to go into this unfulfilling on all levels experience. But those people are like now almost 10 years younger than me.
Right.
Generally speaking, the vast majority of them. And that's the vibe that they're into. And then I think about like, all right, well, that isn't the entire population of 21-year-old people. Where are all the other ones? And you're making a good point, given the life they've lived in the time of technology that it was. I think a lot of introverted people probably just never go out anywhere because internet and home streaming has everything you could possibly want to stay in and enjoy.
Why would I make myself uncomfortable going to a show when I could watch the show on YouTube tomorrow from the people that were there and filmed it?
Yeah. I'm sure the tolerance in general with that age population for opting out of a live experience for a virtual one is going up. I bet it's like, every day there's new people that will choose to stay home and experience something virtually rather than in person.
Right.
But also like live music, despite pandemic setbacks, like live entertainment continues to be a growing, huge, enormous industry, and music festivals there's the golden age of great music festivals on it's probably still happening. Like there's new ones every year, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
they're destination things for people nationwide.
Yeah,
people travel really far to go to them.
Yeah,
I guess my original comment is pretty unfounded. It's just mostly based in like I see very few music fans going to shows anymore. It's more like just for going out to the sake of being at a show of someone who's famous enough for people to be recognized by. You know what I mean?
In your like audio classes that you've taken, did you guys discuss like hearing loss, like generationally, or like I should say like my teacher who walked us through this in one of our DAW classes just talked about how the level of volume that typical large concerts, outdoor concerts, are presented at now is medically like dangerous for people's hearing. And it didn't always used to be that way. Like we over the 60, 70 years where like going to see loud live entertainment has become a commonplace thing for most people. The volume of live shows has gotten exponentially louder than where it's, and of course, like when the Beatles played America with unprecedented crowds of people, those tiny little PA systems they used, didn't do anything. But to go from there to like, this music isn't even meant to be played this loud, and it's like deafening everyone. Yeah. And how, and I've always felt like that speaks to like shit. Generationally, it seems like we have to be completely sensory overloaded to want to go be a part of something. Otherwise, if you can hear yourself talk to people, you might as well just be at home.
I think this is directly correlated to the rise of volumes of people going to see shows. Because after a certain point, you have to be the thing, you know? And when you get a bigger audience, the people up close to the stage will be... I mean, we have technology now that can cater to the front of the audience and the back of the audience with different audio levels. Like, there are some really sophisticated processors that can make every piece of a line array the same balance for everybody, regardless of their proximity to the actual array. It's like, it's really cool technology. But, no, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the theory that shows are louder today than they were when like our parents were going to shows. Like Steve Vono told me the loudest show he ever saw, I think, was T-Rex in like the 80s, and he said his shirt was moving. Like, I've never been at a show that loud. And I know like Bass Nectar and some DJs advertise with like their wattage to their like front of house subwoofers, because like that's what they're going for. They want people who are into dubstep in like a lifestyle way, who want to be seen at a show that's like the loudest show possible. I get that, but I also think that audio engineers and technology have come far enough that it's not too aggressive anymore. I could also just be used to it. I don't know. It's a really interesting thing. I mean, relative loudness is kind of a subjective thing.
Yeah.
So,
that what you said just reminded me of something. I've never said this to you, but line array is a word that I heard years before I actually ever saw it written out, and I thought it was its own word.
Oh, like lineray, line array?
Yeah, like because whenever you say it like it's one word.
Yeah.
But it's line array.
Yeah.
And that was one of those, like, I'm so glad I never like felt confident enough to say or write that out in front of somebody for them to be like, do you mean that's like take it for granted? It's like one of those things where I'm like, I've been saying that for years. It was when or
brass tacks. That was one I recently learned was confusing to some people.
Oh, did you think it was tax with an X?
Oh, no, I knew it was CKS, but I watched a video of somebody who thought it was TAX. Like, everybody on the panel spelt it TAX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's one of the perks of having our mother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mom's made sure we don't slip up on the majority of the easy ones, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I still get fucked with apostrophes once in a while when it's like not a possessive.
It's
kills me sometimes. I mean, I've mistaked it so many times that know it's coming now. So I mean, I like can remember it, but yeah, that fucked me for a while.
Yeah. I love throwing a nice plural apostrophe, like, you know, all of the teachers' contracts and like teachers is RS apostrophe at the end.
Feels good.
That's as Simon would say, a smelling my own farts kind of moment.
Yeah.
I was telling him about a gig I had, a strings gig with all these academic people at it. And he was like, oh, it was an event where everyone was smelling their own farts.
That's good.
But yeah, line array, dude. It was recently in my life that I read it for the first time and was like, oh.
It's actually the
word like manta ray.
It's the word.
Like what I was imagining.
It's actually the word liner and then a capital A at the end.
Liner A.
It's a liner A. Do you know what the opposite, or not the opposite, but do you know what the other style of audio reproduction is called?
What?
Point source.
Ding.
Oh, you're nice.
I had to do at least one more.
You have to plug the cable in your mouth, though, for it to come through.
Point source?
Yeah, point source. The idea being that it's designed to essentially have all of your audio coming from the same point at the same time. And a stereo point source, PA, is like what AC/DC, I think, still uses to this day. Or whenever they were touring. Or maybe it was their last tour. I can't exactly remember. But AC/DC specifically toured with a point source array because that's how they sounded when line arrays weren't invented, you know?
Yeah.
And the benefit of the line array being that you have a much more directional and controllable way of throwing your sound at the audience.
Yeah.
Point source has a lot of unneeded reflections, but in certain applications can actually be a better fit. Certain venues, like, remember how NEC, the church, had that EAW point source rig in the middle, all the trapezoid boxes that were just facing out from the same location?
Mechanics Hall.
Yeah. I think they probably calculated that room and decided it was more logical to have a point source system because of the way it threw the sound.
Yeah.
But then there's some venues where you really want to make sure the people in the front row are getting a quieter mix and the people in the back of the house are getting a louder mix. And in that case, you need all your speakers to be thrown at like a straight line for most of the frequencies on the top end.
Yeah.
And that's what fascinated me about learning the like acoustic principles of line arrays, is that not all the frequencies follow the same rules of directionality. Like low end frequencies, the more you put arrays together, the more directional your low end gets. But only having a couple pieces of an array has a pretty omnidirectional low end. So that's why it's really important to have 1 million subwoofers when you're running a big festival sized line array rig, is because all of those pieces of the line array are making all of the low end coming out of your top boxes so narrow that all of that punch and tactile, you know, sub feeling gets totally thrown out the window.
Yeah.
But at the benefit of not having the people behind the stage be deafened, because, you know, point source boxes are, you know, they're loud. You've stood behind a K-12. They're not like perfectly quiet by any means.
Yeah.
But when you're behind a line array, you get a nice like cavity that kind of, you know, protects you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, PA Tech has come a long fucking way. Not to mention like all the stuff EAW is doing with Anya, which is essentially having a tiny little line array in one box. So you get like
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Anya Taylor-Joy, yeah.
Queen's Gambit?
That's
They're
right.
working with her?
That's right.
Nice.
Knives
Good branding.
Knives Out.
The Menu.
Glass Onion.
I don't think she's in those.
Shut up. But yes, The Menu. Awesome movie. Fuck.
Yeah, Menu is awesome.
What is the name of the guy that takes her?
The actor?
Yeah.
Nicholas Hoult, I think.
Yeah, he
was like Beast in X-Men First Class and stuff. Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's good, but he gives me the hibbity-jibbies.
Yeah, that movie was great.
Yeah.
We went to Cory Wong.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Last weekend at House of Blues Boston.
House of Blues, line wrapping around the door.
Yeah, I heard there was a ticket scanning problem.
Yeah, they couldn't scan Apple Wallets.
Yeah.
So they were shouting at people to take out the barcodes, and like nobody had their barcodes ready. And then the coat check system didn't send Rachel her ticket.
Awesome.
To pick it up. So they had to like vet her to go through the line to like give them her phone number to find her jacket. It was like, this is nuts. But the show was dope.
Show was great.
Never get tickets on the mezzanine at House of Blues unless you plan on waiting really far ahead.
Unless you get that good spot. Yeah.
Yep. If you want to wait in line and see a show without being in the middle of a pit and having a balcony with a really low head count bar,
yeah,
it's perfect. But
yeah,
we got there like 20 minutes after doors, and the venue was probably already at we got there in the middle of the opener's set, so I don't know. The venue was probably at 75% capacity when we arrived, and
that's so nuts, man.
On the mezzanine, we had 3 people in front of us, and we couldn't see over the stage. And all of the LCD monitors had a video feed of the stage that was 1 second delayed, so it wasn't even worth watching. And a high noon and a down east cider was $25, which blew my mind. But shouldn't have been a surprise.
No. You got to go Gansett or PBR at those types of shows.
You're so
and they're
right.
still like $9 or $10 probably.
You're so right. But Cory Wong was awesome.
Yeah.
Turbo funk.
The openers, did you get a pronunciation? Is it Trousdale?
Yeah.
Trousdale. Okay. They were great, and Ash pointed out that they were dressed in the same outfit configuration as the Powerpuff Girls.
Yes, but the bass player and the drummer, the guitarist and the drummer, the other 2 guys were wearing green and blue, so they had the whole rainbow.
Oh, did they have instruments?
Yeah.
The 3 ladies, did they play?
Yeah.
I only saw them during Cory Wong's set, so I
Sorry. I forgot you didn't see them doing their actual show.
Yeah.
No, it was one of them was on keys, one of them was just vocals, and the other was playing acoustic guitar.
Okay.
And then they had what I thought was an electric guitarist, but might have been a bassist and a drummer.
Ah, okay. And they didn't come back for the yeah. Gotcha. And they were dressed in other colors, so it was like a full spectrum. Okay, all right, I gotcha.
They were all like pastel green. It was a green and blue. Yeah.
When Cory Wong had them back up on stage, Ash was scrolling through their Instagram, and she was like, "Oh, they always do that. Like they always wear those 3 colors."
Cool.
And she matched it with the Powerpuff Girls, so I was like, "Nah, I bet there's maybe a little correlation there."
Yeah. Everyone has a gimmick.
As you know, I drove all 4 of us, but as I was backing into a parking spot at one of the Fenway garages, shattered my back window in the car. Right. Perfect. I wish I had that noise on here, man. That's a magnificent pop and shatter sound.
Well, you can use my vocal reproduction anytime you want.
Sure. But yeah, while we were cleaning that up and figuring out a game plan, you guys were waiting in line for 4 people behind the rail in the mezzanine spot. I felt so bad that that's what the experience was.
No. Rachel and I had a great time.
By the time we got in, we had to be in the lit exit hallway of the back of the floor of House of Blues. Having said that, sound was good, and I saw everybody on stage pretty well. We were just dealing with the what are they called in the Grateful Dead community? The people who just dance.
Spinners.
Yeah,
the spinners.
The spinners were back there because there was no room in the rest of the house to spin and dance anywhere. And they were fine, but they were like stepping on innocent bystanders' shoes and stuff, which made me think and I could tell the venue staff was on high alert, and they were letting a lot of stuff slide that I bet normally might not have slid.
Yeah,
because there was just bigger things to worry about. But oh, dude, luckily, despite that whole car incident, I didn't miss a moment of Victor Wooten.
That's so good, dude. He's like the reason to go.
Yeah.
For us, Victor Wooten is very special. So that was I'm really happy you got to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was for sure my favorite aspect of the whole thing. But what a band, man.
Six piece horns, drummer, percussion,
bass, Cory, keys.
Oh yeah, there was keys.
Was there another guitar?
There might have been, but I already forgot 2 of those other people already. So I'm not the guy to ask.
Zach, who's teaching me some Ableton stuff, knows a bunch of those Cory Wong band members personally.
So dope.
Yeah. Including the drummer.
Bunch of cool cats to know.
Yeah. Yeah, they when they're in Nashville, they do these like exclusive invite only Nashville jams that he was telling me about. It sounded pretty sweet. But yeah, great show, man. I do got to say though, that encore skit thing,
the Q&A,
was pretty weird. Pretty weird. I know. I will say. I'm going to acknowledge Cory Wong fans. There's a lot of nerds in the audience there, which is great. But and I'll also acknowledge we were in the very back of the room, so it was very hard to tell what the vibe of the crowd that we couldn't see was. Right. But volume-wise, they played their last song, they introduced the whole band and said thank you, and they left the stage. And then black shirts started coming up on stage, putting the step and repeat and the table down, and the voice was like, before the encore, Cory Wong will be giving a press conference. And then a weird amount of time went by where the crowd energy, like, it plateaued at kind of a waiting for something to happen vibe, and then everybody from the band came back out on stage, and it still took them a few minutes to get back on the microphone and for Cory Wong to start talking, and what he said felt like semi-rehearsed, but was sort of off the cuff. And
so me at every DJ gig.
I found myself pretty confused by that production decision, and I don't know, man. And it felt like it was meant to be taken in a funny, lighthearted kind of way, and it just made me want to leave because it was dragging on. And
yeah, I think that's kind of a playful, vulnerable experience that they like to do. I don't know. A lot of his and Wolfpack's content strikes me that way. Yeah. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all that he went in that kind of like, I'm going to be extra personal approach. I don't know. It didn't bother me. I just wasn't really interested in seeing it.
Yeah.
And it was nice to me that no one in our party felt like we had to stay and watch that.
Yeah.
Because Rach has already seen him in the front row, so she's gotten the whole experience 10 times over. So in my opinion, the experience for me that was most enjoyable was getting to get a really isolated mix of the show from underneath the balcony.
Oh, yeah.
And like there was no room issue and we weren't bumping up against people. Like I got to stand with my legs comfortable and I could move and I could back up and I could go to the bar and I could go to the bathroom. Like that was awesome to me. The only issue was seeing the show was impossible.
Yeah.
And it took a little bit of being a dick to get a spot that I actually could see. And even at that, it was through like slats and a fence. So it was kind of tough. But fun night, man. Fun show.
Yeah, it was great.
Sorry about your window.
Hey, as of today, it's all better.
Safe right repair, safe right repair.
And since we live in Massachusetts,
I
didn't have to pay anything.
Cha-ching!
Yeah, it was a fun weekend, man.
Yeah, man.
And no more COVID.
No more COVID. So we're back on the regular schedule.
Yeah.
Recording on Wednesdays, posting on Saturdays. And I think that's where we should call it for the night, man. Happy Wednesday, brother. Great talking to you.
Hey,
you
Romano.
laughing at my brother. Here, I'll take over.
Look at your smile, brother.
Let me tell you something, brother.
Plug us.
familiarsoundspodcast at gmail.com with anything you want us to see. Also, follow us at Familiar Sounds Podcast on YouTube.
Hey, I coughed in all of your bass equipment to get you sick.
COVID-19.
I had a bird. Its name was
COVID-19.
I opened up the window and in flew
COVID-19.